Today's James Show Rewind is pulled from special coverage of the U.S. bombing of Iran last night on WBAP. Hey there, you're listening to special coverage of the Iranian airstrikes by the U.S. and Israel on Newstalk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and the reaction seems to be pretty jubilant in the streets of Iran. You know, it's kind of hard to tell because, I mean, who was a big fan of Khomeini yesterday? Were they ever out in the streets demonstrating? And if you were, would you dare lift your head and even roll down the window of your car on a day like today? But I tell you what I like seeing this already is the women are out there and they don't have on a headscarf. And that's, you know, just a little fashion detail to the outside world. But to them, especially if, you know, you grew up and you were born after the revolution, this is a whole new world that you've never known before. So I am cautiously optimistic, but I am really enjoying the conversation that's being had behind the scenes. You can send me an email, james@wbap.com. I get a lot of Facebook messages. In fact, I get more Facebook messages than anything, but it's actually kind of a split decision. You know, there's a lot of people who are, you know, just adamantly pro-Trump and they're going to love everything he says. There's a lot of people who are adamantly anti-Trump. They're going to hate everything he says. But for those of us who can calm our emotions and rationally pick, it's been a pretty even split here because, you know, there's the concerns over, yeah, this is good for the Iranian people, but how is this good for the American people? Yes, this is good for Israel, and they're going to get a great return on this investment, but are the American taxpayers going to enjoy much of a return on this investment? And that's not really that cut and dry, and I don't have a good answer for you. Now, I am looking for the people who are complaining about the constitutionality of this. You've got a legit complaint on paper, but if Congress doesn't get together next week and on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or just immediately in some sense, put up a declaration of war, an authorization of war, and vote on it, then what do you expect the president to do? It would make sense for the president to want to withdraw if they put up a declaration of war and it was voted down in the House and in the Senate. Then he could withdraw and be like, look, this is what the American people want to do. But when it came to Korea, when it came to Vietnam, when it came to the Gulf Wars, when it came to our interventions in Syria and Libya and Egypt and all these other places, Afghanistan, we never got an actual declaration of war. And if they never pull it up and voted on it, how are we supposed to say, well, this is against the will of the people? If Congress abdicates their job, what are we supposed to do? So there's an argument to be had there. I'm enjoying all of it because for the rational people, you know, there's a little gray area to discuss here. And I don't want to say it's fun, but it feels kind of important. So when we're all trying to sit here and measure success in the days ahead, it is going to start with the conversation that we're having today. Now, for the people who were telling you predictions that didn't come true, you need to remember that. You need to put like a little mark in your memory and remember that, because when they're predicting things now, you can kind of discount that. Be like, well, you're not really good at predictions now, are you? For the people who told you inflation was transitory, for the people who told you Kamala was going to win in November, for the people who told you Biden sharp as a tack, for the people who told you if you like your plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. If they're not right about their predictions there, should you care about their predictions on Iran? Not very much. Also, I'd like to go back and replay a piece of audio going all the way back 9 days. This was Donald Trump.
It went into Iran and it totally decimated the nuclear potential. And when it decimated that, all of a sudden we had peace in the Middle East because there was a black cloud hanging over the Middle East. And if that wasn't done, that cloud would have been there. And countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, countries like nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Did you hear that? You're going to be finding out over the next 10 days. Here it is, 9 days later, and what'd you get? Uh-oh, here come the Americans. It's happening again. American aircraft is overhead. Things are blowing up to our left and right. Not one American is being killed. Not one American aircraft is being shot out of the sky. Our missiles are useless. Our guns are useless. Our soldiers are useless. We've ticked off the wrong country again. So, we'll be covering this coming up on Monday's show. In the meantime, if you have any good reaction that you think would be worthy for sharing on the James Show, please. I'm getting so much good information from you, and I don't normally ask, like begging with my hat out like this, but I'm comparatively ignorant on the interworkings of the Iranian situation. And I know you're probably not like a geopolitical expert either, but some of the people listening definitely know more than me. And if I'm missing something, share it with me. I walked into this fairly uninformed, but I don't have to walk out of it uninformed. And I get my best tips from people just like you. So remember my email, james@wbap.com, or most people find me on Facebook. I don't know why Facebook. I don't know why not Instagram. I don't know why not Twitter/X or whatever. I don't know why y'all choose what you do. But that's the way it is, and I'm totally okay with that. Remember, if you're flipping through your social media and you think, oh, man, that's really cool. Remember, if that's really cool, would it be cool on the James Show? Send it to me. I would love to hear it. For some people, you're hearing me for the first time because you have a normal work schedule and you can't hear me when I'm doing the normal show from 2 to 5 in the afternoon. Of course, a lot of you have also heard I'm doing a lot of the morning shift as well from 9 to 11. But for you working people, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to finally get to hang out with you. I'm sorry I'm not real convenient, but I do have the James Show podcast because if you like what you hear here, you should hear me on these other topics where I have any clue what I'm talking about more so than the Iranian situation. Check out the James Show podcast and make that one of your daily rotations here. I have one of the regular guests from the James Show, David Hamilton, National Security Economic Center at UNT. By the way, he's bringing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to town like in about a month or so, I think it is. So he is telling me that one of the big losers in this is it's bad for Russia and China. And, you start to string these together in the context. And, we hear Cuba's about to flip. Venezuela got flipped. Iran got flipped. We have what is basically the axis of evil here. And we flipped almost all of them. I mean, who's in the axis of evil that hasn't gotten a big spanking yet? North Korea? Well, they're not a problem. They're not even testing missiles and bombs anymore. Remember when they used to just splash missiles into the Sea of Japan every once in a while just for funsies? So we have really, I don't want to say the term New World Order, but we have found a new order of the world that when Trump has to leave office here in like 2 or 3 years, the geopolitics of planet Earth is going to be drastically different than when he just stepped into office about a year ago. And this is the next step in that. Whether you think this is the right move, the wrong move, we're going to regret it or we're going to love it in the future, you got to admit, history just happened. I'm James Parker. This has been special coverage of the Iranian airstrike by the U.S. and Israel on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.